Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about In the Wild Light by Jeff Zentner. It is the final book that I need to review for my class, but it will not be the final young adult book that I post on this channel. But I will take a little bit of a break because for the last 2 months all I've read was young adult, and I want to get back into science fiction and fantasy so I can update my fantasy bingo. First, why did I choose this book? Quite simply because I enjoyed the first Jeff Zentner book that I read. As a full class, we did The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner, and I absolutely adored that book. It will probably be on my top 10 at the end of the year, so I wanted to experience another Zentner book. So I went with In the Wild Light because I heard it was a spiritual successor of The Serpent King. In fact, you do see two characters from The Serpent King. They are mentioned in this book, and it also deals with a lot of the same themes of like growing up in a small town, spending time with your friends, trying to prepare for the future, things like that. And I thought, I want another book just like The Serpent King. I thought this is a safe bet. And I've enjoyed my experience with Jeff Zentner. In fact, I went ahead and purchased his first adult novel, Colton Gentry's Third Act, and I'll probably get to that in January as well. I really have enjoyed his writing. But let's jump right into it. I want to make this a shorter review as much as I love the book. I got a lot of things to do. It's the end of the semester. I got a lot of projects and a lot of things to grade. So let's get into it. So first, what is this book about? It is about two high school students, Cash and Delaney, growing up in a small town in Tennessee. Again, much like The Serpent King. Both of their families have been ravaged, and their entire small town really has been decimated by drug abuse and other forms of abuse. And Cash and Delaney are raised by Cash's grandparents. Delaney not officially, but she is like an honorary member of the family. And they are again two high school students. And one summer, first you gotta know this. I almost skipped this part. Cash is very much, very grounded, very realistic. He's just a hardworking, good old Southern boy, I guess is the best way of putting it. And Delaney, she's got her head in the clouds. She's very imaginative, very scientific, and highly intelligent, very gifted, and Cash feels like he has to protect her a lot, or people will take advantage of her. One summer, before the school year starts, Delaney makes an incredible discovery about, some effects of like this certain mushroom that grows only in a certain cave near her hometown, and it is a fantastic scientific discovery that really rocks the entire scientific community, and it gains her a lot of attention in the community and around the world. So much so that an elite private school in Connecticut notices her and they recruit her to join their school while paying full scholarship and paying for everything. She wants to join, but on one condition, that Cash also comes with her. Because, they really only have each other and Cash's grandparents. And that's what the novel is going to focus on for like the first third. Cash and Delaney, really Delaney trying to convince Cash to go with her. Cash, and this is one of the things I really like about this novel, really this major theme that is played up throughout, where, sometimes people feel like they don't deserve, good things happening to them. They don't deserve, like, they put in hard work, and because they didn't do something all by themselves, maybe they don't, again, deserve great things in their lives, especially if they've dealt with tragedy throughout their entire lives. That just keeps piling. If one good thing happens to them, maybe that's the only good thing. And Cash is going to feel like that. He doesn't want to go to Connecticut with Delaney at first because, family issues. His grandfather is very sick. He doesn't want to miss out on what could potentially be his grandfather's last few days and his last time on Earth. And he also, again, he doesn't feel like he deserves to go to Connecticut because he just tagged along with Delaney. He paddled the boat out to the cave where the mushrooms were at, and that's all he did. At least that's all he felt like he did. But that's the first third of the novel, and those themes were beautiful. I thought, a lot of teenagers would really resonate with that feeling of like, hey, I don't really deserve these great things. But eventually, and this is not a spoiler, because it happens again right around the third point for this novel, Cash eventually relents because of the conversations with his grandparents. They want to give him the best opportunities that they could not provide for him, that his mother could not provide for him. And he goes to Connecticut with Delaney. That's going to be the rest of the novel. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers. But while there, he and Delaney make new friends with Alex V. And really this whole novel is going to focus on Cash developing as a person, experiencing new things, and really tackling and coming to terms with he's not just some boring, I shouldn't say it like that, but he's not just some southern boy who is just meant for being average. And I don't mean that in a derogatory statement or derogatory way, but that's how he views his life. He wants to accept being average. He doesn't want to really, experience a lot of things and really grow as a person. But he grows with the help of Dr. Atkins, his poetry teacher. That's what this novel is going to focus on. A lot of poetry. And as an English teacher, I do feel a little guilty saying this. I'm not the biggest fan of poetry. I actually strongly dislike teaching it, mainly because a lot of my students strongly dislike it. And if my students strongly dislike it, my mood about teaching a subject is, honestly affected. But I have gotten a lot better at teaching poetry, and when I do find a poem that works for a certain class, it goes very well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I would say, again, my second Jeff Zentner book, his prose is just fantastic. Because the focus is on poetry, you can really tell as well that this is very lyrical, very poetic. The prose is just beautifully written. Just like The Serpent King, I thought that was another strong point. His character voices, again, with The Serpent King, we followed 3 main points of view. For this one, we are only going to focus from Cash's perspective. But Cash, he sounds like a very realistic teenage boy, and it's done very well. I really enjoyed that. Jeff Zentner is very strong with his character voices. I would say that that's another one of his strong points, where the writing sounds like a teenager. It doesn't sound like an adult pretending to be a teenager, and it doesn't also sound too juvenile. It really strikes a perfect balance with that. All of the characters, I really enjoyed getting to know them, even the ones that I did not like. Well, okay, I'll add there is kind of an antagonist to Cash. I don't want to say who that is. That part felt like not a self-insert, because Jeff Zentner's not like this, but it felt like an insert of like when this book was written. It was published in 2018, and there's a certain figure in the United States who I think this antagonist was based around and influenced by. So that insert did distract me a little bit, and maybe it won't distract everybody, but that was one character I thought, I could do without. But Alex, his best friend, V, his crush at the time, Delaney is a great character as well, and Dr. Atkins and her partner. I can't remember her partner's name off the top of my head. Should have prepared a little bit better, but all the characters are fantastic as well. But I would say the number one thing that I liked, definitely the themes. I think a lot of teenagers, a lot of my students, I won't teach this, but I could easily offer this to my kids as like independent reading. I think a lot of them will connect to the themes of like not feeling like you deserve good things happening to your life. Like really, wanting to be around your family, wanting to protect them, wanting to protect your friends as well, but also, learning that you do have to put yourself, you need to take care of yourself sometimes, and you need to make sure that you're not just sacrificing your own self-interest, your own desires, and your own dreams to just always put other people ahead of yourself. You need to make sure that you work on yourself as well. I think a lot of students will really connect with that too. I don't know about this whole idea about staying in a small town, wanting to stay there, but knowing that you have to leave. A lot of my students, they want to leave. I'll just say that. That's one common thing, but I think that's a common idea that a lot of students have. They want to leave their schools. I will say, as much as I enjoyed the book, I did not enjoy it as much as The Serpent King, but I think it's because of when I read it. I read The Serpent King like 2 weeks before In the Wild Light, and there is sort of a formula with this book. Much like when you read one John Green novel, you kind of know how the rest of his novels are going to play out. This does kind of the same thing, but again, it does it pretty well. Just the formula, you can kind of guess where the book is going to go pretty early on. But I still liked it. I think, again, I'll try out another Zentner book. I got his adult novel sitting to the side. I will probably read another one of his young adult novels, and that will be 4 books from Zentner. But yeah, really enjoyed it. That's all I got. If you've read it, let me know what you thought about it. Please read this book, or please get into some Zentner books. I think a lot of people will enjoy stuff, especially if you grew up in a small town in the South. I think you'll see a lot of things in the novel that kind of resonates with you. But yeah, like, subscribe, do whatever. Peace.